I think utilizing all resources is, essential, important. Utilizing your resources, post on your personal Facebook page. You don't necessarily have to have like a social media page for one listing necessarily. If you have short-term rental properties, vacation homes, it would definitely make sense for you to have your own website.
What attracts the applicant more?
Good photography of your property. Videos are even better.
There are a lot of homeowners that will say, hey, I just spent all this money on this new iPhone, and this iPhone takes incredible pictures and photos, so why don't I use that? I don't think there's anything wrong with doing that, but if you can and you have the funds to be able to do it, I recommend getting a photographer who really can make your pictures look good. If they have pictures and you like it, make sure that you go and visit the property. I had an applicant that came and I asked the question of, hey, have you gone to the property? And she said no. To me, that's a red flag.
Make sure it's legit and what you're expecting.
Welcome to High-End Homes Handled Right. This is the Real Property Management Luxury Podcast, and today we have a guest. We're here with yours truly, Lyndel, and Ashley Pope of Grapevine Marketing. Ashley, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. It was really important for me to have you on this show today. It's been really slow or slower than usual with leasing. And, we can dig into later on and why that may be. But for today, we want to talk about tools that can be used so that owners can actually lease their property faster, and things that they should know. So actually, before we even start, how are you?
I'm good. I'm doing pretty
tell
great.
Us about yourself.
Yeah. So my name is Ashley. I own a digital marketing agency. I am one of the owners of Grapevine Marketing, and full service digital marketing agency located in the Houston area. We specialize in website design, social media management, marketing automation, branding, marketing strategy, all that good stuff. And my background's in marketing. I'm originally from Arizona. I moved here in Houston, Texas. I moved in 2018. But in Arizona, I went to college, studied public relations and advertising, got my master's degree at the University of Houston. Go Cougs! Here in Houston. So marketing is all I know, really, from, a professional standpoint. And I love it.
So when you were a child growing up, is marketing something that you said, I definitely want to do this. This is my calling.
Yeah, kind of in a way. A couple things. When I was younger, looking back, I always would read the back of like cereal boxes or, chip bags and read the little blurb, the little description that they wrote. And I loved reading them. And looking back, now I know why. My brain just works in that marketing world. And that's all branding, right? Like everything on our snack packs and boxes that's branding. So looking back, I always think that's kind of interesting and funny about myself. Fast forward to college, I went to NAU, Northern Arizona University. And when I got accepted, I met with an advisor, and based on just my interests and talking to him, he recommended journalism or something in the communications realm. And I didn't go with journalism. I went with advertising and public relations. And just talking to him, and I always liked English. That was, I was not a math or science gal in school. I always loved English and reading. And this advisor in college just really helped kind of pave the way. I went for it. I stuck with it, and obviously it paid off.
And I'm happy. I'm happy you did. So I get to talk to you about this.
Yeah.
So, what are some things that homeowners can do in order to market their property? In the past, people were using print. They were also, right now still doing, putting yard signs, which we, as a property management company, we do a little bit of that also. But what's the advantage of using social media, and what should they use? Should they use, Syndicate, they go rent.com and all these other sites, or should they just do, social media, Facebook, Instagram?
Yeah, I think utilizing all resources is, I think, essential, important. So signage is great. That gets at least your local awareness in whatever area or neighborhood you're in. Working with a property management company or someone to back that property, to just get more eyes on it and set you up for success. Depending on what type of property it is, whether it's, a short-term rental property like a beach house or a vacation home, it might make sense to really dive into the social media side of things. And like I said, utilizing your resources, post on your personal Facebook page. You don't necessarily have to have like a social media page for one listing necessarily, unless you run a business that is solely from that, right? Like if you have short-term rental properties, vacation homes, it would definitely make sense for you to have your own website with maybe your short-term rental properties and all of that. But I think utilizing your own resources, your audience, posting on Facebook, the signage, working with property management companies, and then all of those sites, rent.com, if it makes sense, Airbnb and VRBO as well. I think all of those would be my preferred avenues to help.
I do see, a lot of social media posts, and I always wonder, what attracts the applicant more? Is it pictures? Is it video? Or are you saying that, maybe they need to have videos, or, is all the quality of the photos really, a big thing?
Yeah, I think you have to have photos, and at the very least, you have to have photos, good photography of your property. Videos are even better, or like a walkthrough 3D tour would be great. But having those professional photos done by a professional photographer who specializes in home photography, rental properties would be essential for your property. Photographers, there's tons of different types. There's lifestyle photographers, wedding photographers, more classic photographers, but then there's tons of photographers that specialize in the home industry. So hiring one that knows the business, knows how to photograph different rooms, the backyard, the front, and just really make your property stand out is going to be very important to get eyes on your property. And then video, of course. You want to try to capture the essence, I think, of your property before someone even shows up to look at it. So that way they are intrigued, they can see themselves living there, using the space. And people like to, think about your own habits before you show up somewhere. You kind of like to know what you're getting yourself into.
Right.
So,
I definitely see it. And, there are a lot of, homeowners that will say, hey, I just spent all this money on this new iPhone, and this iPhone takes incredible pictures and photos. So why don't I use that? I don't think there's anything wrong with doing that. But if you can, and you have the funds to be able to do it, I definitely agree with you. I recommend getting a photographer who really can, just make your pictures look good, make it look good, because a lot of times these applicants are working. They don't have time to go through these neighborhoods and find a home that they like and see where they say a for rent sign, or go to when there's a showing on a Sunday. They may not have that time because on that Sunday, maybe that's their soccer day. They take their kids to sports or whatever they're doing church. So if they're able to sit at their house and really see the home and actually envision what it's like, I think that's a plus.
For sure.
But, what I do think that they shouldn't do is really rely solely on those pictures. if they have pictures and you like it, make sure that you go and visit the property.
Right.
I've seen too many times where, just this week, I had an applicant that came and I asked the question of, hey, have you gone to the property?
Like,
what did you think?
Yeah.
Right. Have you visited? And she said no. And to me, that's a red flag. I mean, if you're ready to spend money on a property and you haven't physically seen it, I deny that. And I say, okay, go to the property, visit it, and then come back to me. Tell me what you think.
Yeah. Make sure it's legit and what you're expecting. At least drive by at the very least.
Want to hear something funny?
Yeah.
When I bought my house, we did not visit it.
Really? I mean, if you're like out of state, it might, and you're trying to find a place, it might be obvious. But get a friend to go for you, maybe.
Well, that is something that I can say that we did have, but at the time I was living in Hawaii, my wife and my family, and before we moved here to Texas, it was our realtor and family friends, and I believe my parents did the actually looked at the property for us. But
okay, that's good.
We never saw it. So when we moved here, it was the first time. So I definitely don't recommend that. So if you're going to go and get a property and you're going to lease it, go see it. Right now, it's a sad time in regards to people really trying to take advantage of others. It's you look on the news and you see, people getting leases and they find out that the property didn't exist, or, people living in homes that, they don't have a lease for. All these things are happening. Now, this part is for the applicant. What can the applicant do when they're on their social media? They're looking at these posts and they're saying, whoa, this house is beautiful. I want this house. How can they make sure that this house is legit?
Is real. Yeah. I mean, the sad thing is there's so many stock photos out there and things that people can just pull, like random fake photos and post them. So yeah, you might see a photo of a beautiful home and think, oh, this is great. And that it literally doesn't exist. So Google it. Like, I would say, look up the address. And if you're in the location, which I'm sure, 8 times out of 10, you're probably in driving distance, right, from this property, hopefully, best case scenario, and look it up on Google Maps. And, you can pull up the satellite view and before you even drive out there, drive by it, kind of like we were just talking about, and then the way it's marketed as well. Like, who is backing that property? Is it a property management company like yours? Or is it posted on, if it's a vacation? I've heard this happen to like vacation homes and stuff too. Wow. Like, people book, their girls trip and it's a scam, and that just sucks. Like, that sucks. So look at who is backing it, whether it's on a legit Airbnb site or VRBO. Typically in the description, it would have the property management company that might be facilitating that. Look up that company. Like, use any websites, anything that you see that is associated with this listing, look it up and just Google it. Yeah. Look up the address. That's what I would do.
Do your due diligence.
Yeah.
We
call the person.
We at this company, at this property management company, Real Property Management Luxury, we try to watermark all our photos. Okay. One, and then we also make sure, like you're saying, that we put the phone number, email address, and whatever, just so, the applicant is happy and they feel comfortable, like, hey, this house is legit. Yeah. This is real. But, really, if you're an owner and you have this property, please use, social media to your advantage and, just go out of your way just to make sure you market. Posts per day.
I would say It depends on your property. If it's a residential property that you're trying to rent out, you know, on a yearly basis or whatever, you might post about it 2 to 3 times per week until you get the business, fill that lease. If it's an ongoing short-term rental, like a vacation home, something that people are consistently booking every week, every couple weeks, I think that you can post about that even more. I think you just have to prioritize your listings that you have as a property manager and see what's bringing you in the business, and how often you're going to want to post about that and do what makes sense. But I think overall, to get that exposure, I always recommend at least 3 times a week you should be posting.
So I had to ask that question twice. And the reason is because I do know for a fact that there are people listening to this podcast and they're saying, I have a job. This could be like another job. If I'm working and then I have to go and post on social media, and I'm not, you know, I don't have time for that. But 2 to 3 times a week does not seem that much. And especially if your ultimate goal is to get a tenant, and it's not really just a tenant you want. You want to get a quality tenant.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So I look at this thing in numbers. Mm-hmm. And I tell all my homeowners, investors, the same thing, that the best thing for us to do is, you know, we get all these applications to come in and we're looking for the most qualified. We're looking at quality. Mm-hmm. Credit score. Are you making 2.5 times the rent plus? Or do you have all these things so that you're not getting, you know, your house been vacant for 3 months. You only get 1 applicant, and now you're making decisions based on being desperate. Mm-hmm. That is the worst. You've lost your power at that point, and that is
not where you want to be.
You don't want to be there. And
yeah.
You're actually making a decision of accepting an applicant who most likely in a different scenario you wouldn't have accepted. And then you start lowering your standards. So whatever your standards are, you keep that, and you look for quality tenants based on that. Mm-hmm. But posting on social media is a plus.
Yeah, I would say so. And once you get the photography one time, like that lasts you forever, really, unless you have made an update in the home or whatever. But if you put the investment, I think, up front in utilizing some professional photos, you can reuse that content all the time. And it's just a matter of, making it a point to maybe schedule the posts out. Maybe you take 1 or 2 times a month to, Facebook has a scheduling tool. You can also use different sites for scheduling tools to help. So there's ways to streamline it a little bit. And once you get that content up front, that way I think that's great. That way you're not having to scramble and be like, oh shoot, I need a photo of the living room. Let me go get my, my iPhone or whatever.
You just mentioned something that, really can help on that last question, that Facebook scheduling, where you can have it scheduled posting for you.
Yes.
That right there takes away that excuse of, hey, I've got to post 2 to 3 times a week. I don't have time for that. So
right.
Facebook actually has a tool to do that.
Yeah. I mean, you still have to plan it. Like you still have to create the post. And it's not, if you have the photography up front, it's not even a matter of creating the post. It's more just the caption. And you can just say, I want to post this on Monday at 10 a.m. I want it to post, and then you can kind of schedule them out in that way. So you're doing the work up front, maybe for a couple hours, but then you're hands off, and Facebook just lets you do it automatically.
Yeah, and even that part for the caption. I mean, if you want to use AI for your to even create the caption, it's an amazing tool where you could just say, it's a 3-bedroom house, 2 bath. It's got beautiful kitchen, or whatever you're gonna say. You post that, and AI comes back out with an incredible
perfect
description.
Caption. Yeah,
that you probably couldn't have done yourself.
You don't even have to think about it. Use AI for sure. I think it's all about the prompting with things like ChatGPT and any AI site. So you could even say, here's the description of the home. These are some unique features. Mention X, Y, and Z. Can you create 12 captions for me based on this? Different captions for Facebook and Instagram. Be specific. And that's actually how ChatGPT or things like that will be of advantage for you. Is if it's all about the prompting. And if you prompt it right, it'll start to learn your business or learn kind of what you're going for. And yeah, it'll spit out 12 captions in a matter of 45 seconds. And then that's all you got to, at that point, you're literally just copying and pasting.
Wow.
So yeah, use those things to your advantage and it'll cut things in half, if not more, time-wise for you.
I really, really appreciate you coming out, spending time to come out. And I
absolutely.
think, once again, this time of year, usually, the renting period, it ebbs and flows, where, the peak of the rental period where people are looking for homes, it's when school is out, summertime. People are now looking for homes and they want to get into a new location, a new home prior to school ending. And then it goes down into a low point, November, December, January, because who wants to move during the holidays?
Right.
But saying that, even though it's we're about the beginning of the hot season, it's pretty slower than normal. So using these tools that you're giving us today, it's a plus. After every episode, we're going to start doing, answering questions or giving, some, talking about news or what's happening in the country, United States of, in regards to rental properties. Do you know what's going on in Hawaii right now?
I do not.
Well, have you been to Hawaii recently?
I went a couple years ago, actually, like 2 years ago in May.
Where did you stay?
Just there. We were in Maui.
Nice.
Yeah. And it was, I think at like I can't even remember, maybe like a Hilton hotel right there in Maui. And it was amazing. First time I'd been.
So right now in Hawaii, there is a battle. There is a battle between, housing advocates and hotels on one side. And on the other side, you've got, there's Airbnb and companies like that and, short-term rentals. So what they're, considering doing is stopping short-term rentals in Hawaii. And that's a big deal for, many reasons. But, right now, they're actually going to be, voting on, will we forever stop short-term rentals in Hawaii?
Wow.
On one side, you could say, there's a shortage of homes in Hawaii right now. It's an island.
Yeah.
There's just so much land that you can have.
Right.
So there is a housing crisis right now going on in Hawaii. There are people that just, they have the money to purchase a home, or maybe not, but the ones that do, the supply is not there. And so you've got people from other countries or other states coming over, purchasing homes, just using it as a rental. So, and on the side to that, you've got, people that are saying, hey, this is a free country, and, if I can make money, if I can purchase a home and I can, have it as a business, why not? And then you have tourists on the other side saying, like, I want to be able to make a decision. Maybe I don't want to spend my time at a Hilton, right? And go to the pool where there's 15 to 20 other people in that same pool. Or maybe I want to go wake up in a nice, beautiful house, nice area, and I have my own little pool, or I can just walk to the beach. And, so it's just that battle. Yeah. And I think, having that fire in Maui just made this problem even worse.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, they literally lost so many homes. So much, there.
Yeah.
So when you have lost so many homes, that supply is now that much smaller.
Even smaller than it already was.
Yeah. So that is, what's happening right now in regards to rentals, and hopefully in Hawaii they come up with a solution that it will help everyone. But once again, prayers going out to anyone who's lost their home in Maui, and we hope that everything comes around and, you're back to being incredible, which I know you guys are, and beautiful. I love Hawaii.
Yeah, me too.
I've lived there for so many years, and it's always going to be a part. Matter of fact, my one of my sons was born there as well.
Okay.
So it will always be, my home.
Part of you, yeah.
I just hope they get this together and they figure out, the best way to move forward. But once again, I want to say thank you for coming out and
thanks for having me,
giving us some tools that we can use. And once again, this is Lyndel Johnson. This is the High End Homes Handle Right, the Real Property Management Luxury Podcast. And we look forward to seeing you on the next episode. See you later.